Hey guys, it's your boy Aijalonwallace. Welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me by now, a lot of people know me as the Nomad Recruiter. I make videos about recruiting and traveling around the world. But today we're going to be talking to you about how to start your recruiting and staffing agency. So I'm pretty excited to get started and talk to you about that today. If you guys want to do a little bit more research on me, I do have a website, nomadrecruiters.com. I have a lot of testimonials. I helped a lot of people scale their agencies to 6 and 7 figures. And I want to help you do the same as we talk about recruiting and staffing. So listen, there's two parts. We're going to be talking about recruiting. We're also going to be talking about staffing, and most importantly, how you can make 20 to 40,000 per month. So listen, when it comes to recruiting focuses on permanent hires, direct hires, and full-time positions. And when it comes to staffing focuses on temporary, contract, and contingency roles as well. Okay. So in recruiting, a lot of recruiters that get started often starts off on the permanent side, but some people tend to start off on a contract side as well. I guess it just varies on what your niche is going to be. Going into niches is very important to try to stick to one niche as you start your agency and get your agency off the ground. So you may start off with truck drivers, you may start off in nursing, you may start off in healthcare, machine learning, cybersecurity, software engineers, you name it, the list goes on, but you want to try to limit yourself to one niche. Now it's okay to work in a niche that complements other niches that may be easier for you to source candidates. Pick your niche as front-end developers. And while you're working on front-end developers, you also decide to work on UX and UI roles. Well, that's not going to be that bad because often front-end developers have the backgrounds as both UX and UI designers and as front-end engineers as well. So you can find positions out there that complement each other. For example, like your business analysts and your project managers. There are people who have program manager backgrounds, have been business analysts, and now they're program managers. So the list goes on when you find niches that complement each other as well, okay? If you guys don't want to know and you're curious about how we probably get paid, well, it's really interesting. In the permanent world, we charge a base salary, we charge a percentage based off of the base salary. So hypothetically, if your candidate is making $100,000, we charge the client 10% of that, and the client will pay us $10,000 once we put that candidate into the job position. Now, what we have something called guarantee. And a guarantee is when we guarantee the client that the candidate is going to stay in that job for a number of days. It is pretty industry standard to get paid from a client within your first 30 days, but that also depends on what you negotiate with your client. I've seen some people get paid immediately. I've seen some people get paid in 2 weeks. I've seen some people get paid in 60 and 90 days, but usually 30 days is standard. So we guarantee the client that the candidate's going to stay in that job in 30 days, and boom, you're getting your first paycheck. Paycheck can range, like I said, from 10, 20. I've seen paychecks up to 50,000, even 100,000 if you do something called retained search as well. The vocabulary is really big in our industry, so you're gonna have to do a lot of research on some of the words. I'm gonna try to give you as much information as well. So going back into getting your agency off the ground, what are some things that you're gonna need? You're gonna need your license, you're gonna need your EIN, you're going to need to register your business, and you're also going to need to build out a website. You can easily build out a website on a lot of free platforms out there. It's not rocket science to just go ahead and take a template, put your information in, and just get a website up and running. These companies that we work with are not looking for us to be like Facebook. They're not looking for us to be like Google. So the goal is just to show as much credibility as possible. You want to make sure you have a presence online as you're getting your agency off the ground. Now you may ask, well, AJ, why do people want to reach out to you as a coach? Well, the reason that people reach out to me is because they struggle with finding clients. A lot of the information online is very easy to get in regards to getting started, but a lot of people tend to struggle with the consistency of finding clients, and that's where your boy come in. That's where I come in and help you find clients to make your life easier so you can start making money as quick as possible. Now, when you're getting your website up, you got your EIN, you register your business, brand credibility is going to be really important. One of my mentors once told me, how can money find you if you are not identifying who you are online? So often I get a lot of people that come to me who wants to get their agency off the ground, and a lot of their network, the people that their network don't really know what they're due. So I have a lot of people or students who have got inside my program who rebranded themselves as recruiters, as staffers. And once people understood what they did, they start breaking in more opportunity, more job positions at the end of the day as well. So that's going to be extremely important for you, when you're working on jobs. Another myth a lot of people always think is that you're only limited to the state that you're in. I have hundreds of students, and all my students work on jobs all across America, all across Australia, all across Canada, and the list goes on. You are not limited to the state that you work on. Now, there are laws in place when it comes to contract positions, depending on the niche of that roles. There tends to be a lot more rules around healthcare positions, and that's just something that you can't get around. But I do show a lot of my healthcare niche people easier ways to get started and get around those rules as well. But I just want to let a lot of people know who are watching this video, you're not limited to your state, to your city, or to your country. I have students in Australia, and I teach them how to find jobs in America. I have students in Canada. I show them how to find jobs in the UK. And I have students in America who live in Miami, and I teach them how to work on jobs in Ohio and work on jobs in Detroit. So the list goes on. If your niche is more popular in a certain area, you're not limited to just staying in that one location as well. Recruiting and staffing is getting a little harder. So the great thing about having a coach is just creativity. You have to start finding more creative ways to bring on clients, because we are competing with the giants out there, the big recruiter agencies. We're a one-person shop, so we're doing it all starting off, but it is important and easier ways for you to be able to scale. So scalability comes into play when you start having a little bit more capital, and you can start hiring virtual assistants overseas. You can hire people in the Philippines, you can hire people in South America. The list goes on to the number of people that you can hire for your agency at the end of the day. So that's when you're ready to scale. A lot of people always ask me, well, AJ, do I need an ATS system? So an ATS system is a platform where you're going to keep all your data, you're going to keep all your candidates' names and stuff. Listen, I'm not the recruiter that's gonna, I don't like to, it's no Lambos, it's no Manchester here. And most importantly, I don't want my students spending unnecessary money at the end of the day. I want you to save money starting off, because you're gonna have to put a lot of more capital into your sourcing, into your platforms like Indeed, into your platforms like LinkedIn Recruiter. If you're in Australia, I think that's gonna be Seek, so a lot of the strategies and the things that I teach are universal, but the platforms and the names are going to always be different. You're going to have to put money into your automation tools as well. So it's important to ask yourself, or to ask questions of like, what do you need and what you really don't need? You don't need an ATS system starting off as a new recruiter, as a one-person shop. And I know there are coaches out there selling that, to you as a way for them to make more money, but I just want to keep it 100. I want to be really honest with you. And I don't want you to lose money starting off at the end of the day. Listen, so when it comes to finding your clients, you want to have a strategy in place. You want to try to have a business development list, and you want to have, your ideal target clients. If you're struggling with defining clients, you can check out nomadrecruiters.com, and you can book a free 15-minute coaching call with myself or with my team, and we can talk to you a little bit more about how we can assist you and help you get there faster at the end of the day. But you want to have a consistent strategy to find clients. Recruiting is a volumes game at the end of the day, so it is a sales job. So I try to manage your expectations to help people understand with recruiting and with staffing, it's a volumes game. So the more resumes you put out there, the more interviews you put out there, the more results you're going to see for yourself at the end of the day as well. So you want to get more resumes out there. You want to get more interviews going as well. You're going to need to learn how to manage candidates and also manage clients, how to interact with them as well. I think sometimes when people are looking at videos like this one, a lot of people just think that it's just all sales. It is a sales job, but you need to learn how to work with people. You need to understand how to qualify candidates. You need to understand how to work with your clients and ask the right questions as well. Sometimes you have candidates who are overqualified, and sometimes you have clients who don't know what the hell they're looking for as well. So when you take a job spec, sometimes when you're talking to, you may not talk directly to the hiring manager. You may talk directly to the human resource person who may not know what you're even looking for. I always tell the joke of the time I was in the industry, and a few years back, and I was talking to this human resource person, and I asked her, what languages are you looking for a software engineering position? I was like, so what are the languages you're looking for? And the human resource person said, clearly I'm looking for English. And if you guys know, a software engineer, the languages are technical positions. So C, front end, full stack, Python. I'm looking for stuff like that. She's talking about English. So this human resource person clearly had no idea what the role she was working on, or what she was looking for, or what was needed from that hiring manager as well. So it does give you an advantage if you could talk directly to the hiring manager for the positions that you work on, because sometimes the internal teams, human resources, or and the human resource partners may not really have a clear idea. Sometimes it's hit or miss as well. On the candidate side, qualifying your candidates is going to be really important. You're always going to have a list of questions from your clients that you're going to need to ask your candidates, but here are some essential things that you want to be asking your candidates during the qualifying process. What's going to be important when you are working on a job with a candidate, you want to make sure you're asking them what is their notice period. The reason you want to ask what the notice period is because you don't want to waste the client and the candidate time. I'm hearing noises. You don't want to waste the client and the candidate side time. So, for example, if the client says, hey, we need somebody that can work immediately, and hypothetically, let's just say you're working on a physician position. Well, a lot of people don't know it is industry standard in the medical world. When you're working on doctor positions, sometimes doctors have a 3-month notice period. So if you're working with a client that says we need someone immediately, and you put this candidate through the interview process, you qualify them, and you forget to ask them what is their notice period, that's going to waste the client's time. Okay. That's going to waste the client's time at the end of the day. So it's going to be important that you understand what the notice period is for your candidates and for your clients as well. Another thing that you want to ask when it comes to your candidate, you want to ask them, of course, what salary they're seeking. The reason you want to ask what salary they are seeking is because you want to make sure that they're not over budget. And sometimes they can be under budget, but if they're over budget, you don't want to waste your time because you're not realistically managing expectations. If the client says, hey, my budget is $150,000, and your candidate says, I want $300K, and they're pretty firm on that $300,000, you're wasting both your client and your candidate time, and that's going to make a client not want to work with you as a recruiter. So it is important to understand to manage their expectation. So we're asking about notice period. We're asking about salary. Another thing you want to ask is, why are you leaving your current position? You want to look for red flags when you're hiring clients, because remember, we got a guarantee. So we want to make sure that this person can actually stay in the job for at least 30 days at the end of the day as well. So we have a guarantee period. So when it comes to, you asking this candidate, when it comes to you asking this candidate, I forgot salary, qualification. What was it? Okay. So when it comes to you asking this candidate, why are they looking for a new job? You want to make sure they don't say things like, I hate my boss, I hate the company, I hate this. You want to make sure they're not speaking negative. If you feel that they're a great match, you want to try to get them some coaching before you put them on the phone with your client, but it's a strong chance candidates like that will not last long, if I could be completely honest with you. So be mindful and understand that you are taking a risk when you work with those type of candidates. To be honest, the true secret, if you guys want to know, the true secret is the passive candidates. Those are who the clients want. They always want the candidates who aren't looking for jobs, because those tend to be the best ones as well. So that's going to be extremely important for you. One of my secret questions that I ask candidates, and it really just saves me a lot of time and a lot of money, I always ask them, hey, if your current job was to offer you a counter offer, would you accept it? Now, depending on how that candidate responds, depends on how I move forward as well. So I'm trying to understand, okay, if they say no, that lets me know they're ready to go. So that means that when my client sends them an offer, I know that guaranteed that they're gonna accept that offer when I get them that offer for 150,000 and I get my $15,000 check coming in or my $20,000 check coming in. I know that this candidate's gonna say yes. Remember, recruitment is all about controlling good habits. So you want to try to have as much control as possible. If they say, I don't know, if they say maybe yeah, then you want to say to that candidate, listen, I just don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste my client time. It's a 4-week interview process. It's a 4-round interview process. I don't want you to go through all these interviews. And when my client offers you the job, you says no. I need to know that you're ready to leave your job. You have told me A, B, and C why you're looking to leave. So I need to, and this is what my client is going to offer you. So are you ready to go? You really want to close your candidate on really feeling like they're ready to leave their position. You want to make sure they don't have no personal attachments to their positions as well. Like if they're working for their family or if they've been in the company for so long, they can't really just see themselves leaving the company. A lot of things that you want to just make sure you have a strong candidate and the right candidate at the same time. You are going to have to master the art of sourcing. A lot of people are, when it comes to looking for a candidate for a position, the first thing recruiters do is that they post a job and then go to LinkedIn. And that is the wrong way. That's why I give one-on-one coaching to really teach my students how to go into a detailed manner of sourcing for the right positions. There's are things that you have to look for when you're sourcing a candidate. It's not just their skills and their tenure or their education, but it's a lot of other things that are important that you have to look for to make sure you always have a guaranteed deal, a guaranteed placement at the end of the day. So that's going to be extremely important as well. Of course, you're going to need to have a contract for your agency, and make sure in your contract that you negotiate the guarantee clause or see if your client is open-minded when it comes to the guarantee clause as well. That's going to be something that's extremely important as well. Now, in the staffing space, staffing is beautiful because the great thing about staffing is you get paid every time your candidate gets paid, every time your candidate goes to work. So that's the great thing about staffing. I guess I'm a little biased on between full recruiting and staffing. I'm more of a perm full-time recruiter, but I know a lot of people who love staffing. The way I look at full-time recruiting is you get paid, it's one and done, you move on to the next job. But a lot of staff contract and staff recruiters, they look at the residual income of staffing. You got money rolling in every week, every month. It's beautiful at the end of the day. But I just like to work on my big jobs, move on, and live la vida loca. So it depends on what fits your style, what fits your personality at the end of the day. But it's a lot of opportunities in staffing. The only thing about staffing, I guess the downside is, it is an industry where there's no loyalty. People leave for the top dollar. So you may have someone in a 6-month contract and then a crazy, and I mean like a crazy, 200,000 nurse position pop up in Wisconsin, something crazy pops up. And that candidate's like, yeah, I want to go take that money. I'm what you're going to leave now. And now you have to start over hiring for that contract position. So sometimes it just feels like as soon as you put someone in a job, they're already out of there. So you have to be mindful of the roles that you work on as well. I do feel that some positions in the staffing and contracting space can be a little oversaturated, which is why it's over 1,000 niches. It's 1,000 niches at the end of the day. So there's so many ways to make money. But I love so much about recruiting and what about staffing. It's always going to be an in-demand industry in so many areas. I also, people know my story. I started off as a technical recruiter, but during COVID, the healthcare industry was in so much need of help, and I wanted to contribute and make money. I took advantage and stopped doing tech recruiting for a while to focus on healthcare and flourish. So I love that so much about recruiting and staffing is that you can switch out your niches if it doesn't work for you, or depending on what's in demand as well. But most importantly, it is a recession-proof business. And I think that's really important. It's not an e-commerce store. It's not Amazon FBA. It's working with people. You're selling people at the end of the day. You're selling human beings. And it's a great industry because it's always in demand and you are not limited to your city, your town, your state. but it's a great way to start making money, especially if if you're confident enough. People always ask me, well, AJ, do I need to be a great seller? You don't need to be a great seller. You just need to be hungry. I teach you how to find clients, but you got to have that hunger and desire to wake up. You got to send emails. You got to make the calls. You got to talk to candidates. You got to do the outreach. You have to do the work. I don't promise a get rich quick scheme. I'm not promising you're going to be a millionaire. There's no Lambos. There's no mansions here at the end of the day, but I do teach you how to be free, but you have to be hungry on getting started as well. Listen, my name is Aijalonwallace. I'm the Nomad Recruiter. Got over 10 plus years of in the agency space. I have my own agency and I work for 2 recruitment agencies. I am one of the only coaches out there that when you look them up, you can actually see my background, you can see my history, you can see my testimonials. They're real names and they're real people. So when you guys are looking for a recruiter coach, just make sure you do your due diligence and you look for people that you can relate to, that you can have access to as well. One thing I will say is I do have an actual academy where I teach you how to get started, and you get up to 90 days of group coaching calls with myself directly that you can speak with me on a weekly basis. So I'm there helping you win. I want to see you win. I want to see results. But if you're ready to take action, you have to start now. We are already in a recession. We are already heading into another pandemic, but you cannot keep letting someone be in control of your future. If you're trying to start a new side hustle, you're going to just have to take action and take a leap of faith on yourself at the end of the day. But I know so many people out there who have access to the money, they just don't know how to do it. I had one student in my program. She joined the program and made $70,000 within her first 6 weeks of joining. Just through her network. Once she learned the lingo, the language, the vocabulary, she got access to our contracts, and she was able to close 2 deals, by the way. One deal was $30,000 and the other deal was $40,000. So it was $70,000. It was actually a $70,000 deal. And it was just through her network. And this is why I'm saying it's important to have access to the right information versus watching 1,000 videos online. Listen, if you want to get started, make sure you click the links below, hit the like button, comment below, let me know what other videos you want me to talk about. I'm going to be uploading a lot more new videos on this channel, in particular, so I can focus directly on recruiting for you. I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Thanks again for supporting your channel. I got 10 kids to feed. I need you to hit that like button. I'll talk to you guys soon.